Well, that's the end of the Gunbarrel for us on this particular trip. We've come to the Gunbarrel and Heather Highway intersection. From here we head south. That'll take us to Warburton, which is our next refuel and resupply stop. But that's still about 129 kilometres away. It's early afternoon, but I don't think we'll make it today because the conditions don't improve a whole lot until we get on a Great Central Road.
Life is a wonder, tell where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights.
Well, that's the worst of this part of the trip over. We're now on a, still the Heather Highway, but the road we're currently on actually services an Aboriginal community, and generally they're in better shape. So the road right at the moment is reasonably good, certainly a lot better than what we've been on for the last 3 days. And this will link us onto Great Central Road and then onto Warburton. Well, we find ourselves in a bit of a pickle, but because we're so far east now, sunset is as early as 4:56, I think it is, so before 5 o'clock, about 3:45 now. This area just doesn't lend itself to bush camping, not for 14 vehicles. So there's a couple of options. One is to go into Warburton itself, although they slam their gates shut at 5 o'clock, so I don't think we'll get in there. The other option is having a look at the original alignment of Great Central Road. It's been realigned over the years, and the original alignment is still marked on some maps, so we're going to see if we can pull over on the original alignment of Great Central Road and probably just bush camp on the road itself. Well, they managed to find a campsite, the old Great Central Road lookout, according to Wiki Camps, so this will have to do. We had to gather some firewood on the way in because it's pretty devoid of firewood, but anyway, we'll be right for the night, I think.
Really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down.
This is the morning of day 7. We're only a few kilometres, probably 20 kilometres, if that, from Warburton. People have been told to go into town individually, refuel, and we've got a couple of hours in there and just be ready to leave just before noon. So, yeah, people will go in dribs and drabs. That makes a lot of sense, because if you get 14 vehicles rolling up at one time, you're going to lose a lot of time in refuelling and the like anyway. So, yeah, I'll make my way into town. Most of us, I think, are going to see if we can find a shower somewhere, probably due. And then, yeah, we'll start making our way south on the Connie Sue Highway later today. Well, it was a brilliant plan to get here individually to refuel at your leisure. However, we weren't planning on the roadhouse still being closed, so that defeated the whole purpose. Well, we've now departed Warburton. Fuel was $3.40 a litre. It cost me $196 to fill up with, I don't know, 58 litres. The turn off to Connie Sue Highway is only 2 or 3 kilometres out of town. We'll be on the Connie Sue for a couple of days at least. The top end, the northern section, is a lot of sand dunes, and the southern section, the other side of what they call Neale Junction, is pretty bony and rocky. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we're on there for 3, maybe 4 nights.
Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know, if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my...
Now, this has gotten very ugly very quickly. We've split up. There was a fork, somebody didn't wait at the fork, the junction, and now the packet has been split up into 2. We've come to a dead end, so we're going to turn around, but I guess it just shows the importance of maintaining what I know as front to rear contact. That's what we used to do in the military. That's a long story, but yeah, you can't afford to take any chances out here, because if you take a wrong track, it could be your last. Well, I've only been on this track for about, I don't know, less than an hour. The corrugations are pretty horrific. They've decided to let a little bit more air out of the tyres. Blokes are going down at, I don't know, 25 or 30. Yeah, just to try and soften the hurt a bit. Have the tyres take up some of the shock. Quite often you'll find a side track where blokes have just had a guts full of the corrugations and just decided to go off the track because it's a smoother ride.
Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling
Just because you're out in the field doesn't mean you have to do it tough. Tonight, roast chicken.
Do it silently.
Yeah, so I think when we were in Adelaide.
Oh.
Quite a few of us use an app called Wikicamps, and on there it's got quite a bit of information, suitable bush camps. Some people actually give it a star rating, and a few points of interest along the way just to break up our journey. So yeah, it's a long time between drinks out here, but occasionally you'll come across little gems every now and again. No shortage of variety with the diet. Last night was roast chicken, yummo. Tonight, roux tail.
The first time I bought my car, and I was still money.
Now there is no elegant, no, you're right, there is no elegant way of doing this.
A bit of firewood.
Oh no, is that what stinks?
You'll see it in a minute. Second one.
$14 a kilo is not bad.
No, probably not. But main ballad stools, so they have to be fairly sturdy.
But when we bought it out on the... Ready?
Just one layer, I can stick some at the end. It without foil.
Yeah, of course. See? Love.
Should be a bit of meat on them.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you a bit of coals, that's no problem. Probably.
Yeah, just keep the coals on, I think, Steve, yeah?
No, where's good if they're going north. Our family.
Fill your boots, help yourself, enjoy.
Well, it's not as steep as tea.
But I'm wondering if it's...
You had that in France, that was nice.
Well, we're at a place called the Lillian campsite. We're just looking for some Aboriginal art that's supposed to be around this neck of the woods somewhere. Well, we've pulled up at Neale Junction. Neale Junction is the crossroad of the Connie Sue, which runs north-south, and the Len Beadell, which runs east-west. Connie Sue was Len's daughter, and Anne, of course, was the wife, the missus. We're going to stop here for lunch. So yeah, if you were to head north from here, the direction we came, that'll take you back to, of course, Warburton. If you head west that way, that's Laverton. And if you head south, which is the direction we're going, that'll take us down to Rawlinna. And if you head east, after a few days, you'll come out of Comprehension in South Australia. The conditions for the last couple of days have been, yeah, mixed bag. Some slow going, some tough going, a few sand dunes as well, but certainly a big mix of road conditions. Well, this is the morning of day 10 for us, and some guys expected to be a bit closer to Perth than what we actually are. The last few days have been tough going, slow going, and now we find that there are some guys within the group, some people within the group, who have actually had to leave and spear off separately to try and make it back to Perth in time for, I don't know, whatever reason, work, personal reasons, whatever. So yeah, we may find from this point that we have individuals spearing off and going back to Perth separately. What's happened, John?
A nut from the bash plate has dropped out. I've got to try and get a replacement one in there.
So it's not a deal breaker, you're not
No.
stranded.
No, all the others are tight, so
I had a couple come loose, drop out. Not surprising, I guess.
yeah.
Morning at day 11, you can tell we're travelling south. The temperatures have got a lot colder. Once again, we've had a small group leave. They're going to travel straight through to Perth. They'll be home today, although it's going to be a big day for them. The rest of us, we've got no time restraints, so we'll probably take another maybe 2.5 days to get back to Perth from here, I think. Well, we've left for the morning. We're down to, pardon me, we're down to 10 now in this group after some have left. Fuel has been a bit of an issue. Well, not an issue, but we knew that there was over 1,000 kilometres between fuel stops, part of the journey, this part. So, not all of us have long-range tanks fitted. So we've had to make sure we carry sufficient fuel in jerrys and the like. And even that, you still tend to suffer a bit of fuel stress, only because your fuel consumption increases because of the conditions, deflated tyres, soft tyres, and a bit of sand into the mix. So yeah, sometimes it's hard to judge just how much fuel you're going to burn. I think in most cases nobody's going to run out. There'll be enough fuel within the group if anybody runs a bit low. Well, this is the 4th day on the Connie Sue Highway. It's been slow and tough going in places. We're just outside of an abandoned railway siding, community called Rawlinna. Rawlinna is a siding on the Transcontinental Railway. The Transcon pretty much crosses the continent, but all these sidings are now abandoned. There's nobody in these towns or sidings anymore. They were abandoned years ago, although in some of them the infrastructure still exists. After Rawlinna, the conditions should improve considerably. We then start heading west towards Kalgoorlie, and that road alongside the railway line is in good shape. So that should be a quicker trip. You see the weirdest shit when you're on the road. Well, we're just about to roll into Kalgoorlie, only long enough to refuel and then head out to a bush camp, a campsite just outside of town. Today's been all about paralleling, driving alongside the transcontinental railway line. There's a very good service road that runs alongside it. So high-speed gravel road. You know, we've been sitting on speeds of 90, 95 kilometres an hour. So yeah, that's been a pleasant change from the low speeds of the bony, rocky track of the last couple of days. So yeah, last bush camp tonight, and tomorrow we'll get up and start heading home to Perth.
But I'll let you know at our first. So, but
Well, it's the morning of day 12. This will be our last day on the road. All of us will be home in and around Perth by later today. People are just starting to pack up now, and from here we'll move home individually. People obviously need to take different routes to get home, so yeah, from here we'll split up and just go our own way. My thoughts on the journey, you know what, it's been pretty seamless. We'd never had any major failures. We had a few punctures, but that's to be expected with the conditions. Some of the going was pretty tough. Some of the roads and tracks were quite difficult. Others were high-speed gravel roads, so good mix of conditions. The weather, perfect really. We had one evening of light drizzle, but nothing that would concern us. Cool days, but very cold nights, but that's to be expected. It's the middle of winter here. But anyway, look, if this is the final approach, you know what that means? See you on the other side.